Alright guys, I'm going to do a quick um, tutorial or just overview of what I've been asked the most to cover, which is mods. Some general pointers right off the bat, as I'm no expert on mods. I've just now recently started to try to focus on them because if you want to try to be competitive in the game, no matter what level you're at, you have to finally come to accept the fact that the only way you are going to become competitive and stay competitive is to learn how to mod. Not only learn how to mod, but farm mods and which mods to farm, or what what you're supposed to be doing, or what's a good routine and schedule on how to farm. So without it, you can get so far behind so quickly that you, like I did many times over, become frustrated, want to give up when it comes to mods, don't give a damn about mods. So I get all that, trust me, I do. Hold on, let me check one thing, make sure that the audio is still going. All right, we're good to go. So here is just a brief overview, because you can tend to explain mods and get so buried in it that you could spend hours and hours and hours going down the rabbit hole and then get nowhere quick. I'm going to try to, I guess I'll do a series of videos, because it's almost impossible to explain modding efficiently all in one. The video would just take hours, and then you lose everybody and then they'll fall asleep on me. Trust me, I would too. So I'm going to stick to this one video, first one being about what I deem the most important area that mods play a part, and that's squad arena, because mods are the end all be all. Mods are important all over the game, but when it comes to squad arena, that's all there is. That it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to have the same meta teams put together per what's popular, and the only way you become better in there is who has the better mods. That's the beginning and the end of it. Very simplistic. The better mods you have, the more times you guarantee wins. That's it. Very simple. Very simple. So, for example's sake, my current arena team is Darth Revan, HK, 47, Hot Topic, Bastila, Darth Malak, and Sith Trooper. Now, back in the day when I first started, which was the first day this game came out, there was no mod help. The mods didn't even exist then. So when mods came out, it was basically like the wild west. You had to guess at what worked. You had to have a working knowledge of what modding even was. So for a long time, there was such a horrific gap between the people who were doing well and the people who weren't doing well, and that all came down to what was, did they know how to mod and mod correctly? And they succeeded, and succeeded well. The people who didn't, the gap was horrifically wide, so obvious. But nowadays, there's a lot more help in the game, and one of the features in the new quality of life updates they had a while back, which I utilize a lot, is basically modding tips. So these aren't exact, and all these are is just what the programmers of the game say they think is what works with this character best. So take it as a rule of thumb. Don't take it as an exact science, because it's not exact. It's right a lot of times and it's wrong a lot of times. I've seen it do both. So what I mean by that is, here right off the bat, Darth Revan, it says, based off how this character was created by the programmers at CG, he is designed to be maximum efficiency with offense and critical chance mods. Now that's all it says, but at least that's a good roadmap. So that starts off, so you know that he works best with offense and critical chance mods. Now it doesn't say which offense and critical chance mods to use, what combination, or anything like that. So that's where your part and your knowledge comes into play. And again, this is only an overview of how they see the character. That doesn't mean that offense and critical chance works for Darth Revan the best in the Sith raid or in squad arena. So it doesn't take those things into factor. So you have to put that into play and keep that in the back of your mind. This is overall, because in squad, offense and critical chance is not as important as speed is. So in squad arena, speed is king, not offense and critical chance. So that's just so that's where you can see that this suggestion is only works for a suggestion. I give you a little starting point. You got to figure out the roadmap. Another example, HK47. His suggested set, but in this case, I fully agree with it in all cases, meaning anywhere you can use HK, he needs critical damage and critical chance. That's the same for arena. That's the same for the raids. That's the same for territory battles. So this is a more, situation where the suggestion is more than just a suggestion here. That works for him pretty much in all facets. So it's very tune specific. By trial and error, you will get better at it. You'll learn what works better for a particular tune in, say, Phase 2 of the Heroic Sith Raid, or Phase 2 and 3 of the Tank Raid, or the Rancor. You have to always be paying attention, because you're never going to know through anything else but trial and error what works best where. And when you start seeing that pattern, it's good to notate it. That's how you get better. That's how I got better. I really had to force myself to break down and say, okay, these tunes, because I can take here's an example. Bastila Shan. You can use her everywhere. Territory battle, territory wars, grand arena, raids, arena, doesn't matter. She's all over the place. But she works differently depending on what situation you stick her in. So if she's designed to work a certain way in the tank raid, that means she's not going to work as efficiently if you do the same parameters and same modding and then slap her in the Sith raid or send her in territory wars. That, there's too many variables there. So I hope that the reason why I keep mentioning this one subject is because that's the one difference maker between to know how to mod and how not to mod. So you can't just slap a set on Bastila, think you're done, and think that it'll work efficiently everywhere and you're good, or that's not the case, or else everybody would be much closer as far as skill level within the game. But we know that's not the case. Now Malak, a lot of people don't have Malak, so let me just give you an overview of see how the system right here says flat out tenacity. This recommends speed and health, crit chance, crit damage, offensive crit chance. He's just flat tenacity. This is also a case where that is correct, and that is correct in all places that Malak is usable. He basically feeds off of tenacity, being able to withstand having buffs put on him and survive much longer than other tunes. So for example, how I've modded my Malak is I put tenacity mods in all 6 slots, even though they vary. That's a 30 speed tenacity. I put offense in the square, I put protection in the triangle, tenacity in the cross, protection in the circle, and defense in the diamond. So but they're all different parameters, but they're all tenacity mods. So I got down here the max tenacity bonus at plus 20%. That's fantastic. So I got that down at the bottom. Now I also factor in that even though he's a tank, speed is very important to him. So I tried to put tenacity mods with good speed secondaries on it. For example, it's got a secondary of plus 9 speed. This is a plus 30. That's a plus 9. That's a plus 19. That's a plus 10. And no speed on this one. So not only he's a tank, but he's a fast tank at 230, 145.79% tenacity, which is nuts, and his health and protection pool above is clocking over well over 90,000. So that means he can take some damage. And plus, his one of his moves is whenever he gets close to dying, he basically drains the life force out of the toon that I target, so I can basically revive all my stats back. So in this case, this was right on the money. Tenacity is all he needs. You just need to put him with excellent tenacity mods, meaning high tenacity with speed secondary. And lastly, Sith Trooper. This is another example where it's very, very to the point. It just says straight up defense. He's a tank. This tank he's supposed to have a deep, deep health and protection pool. He's designed to take damage, take the brunt of the damage, to protect the team, to let them survive longer. So this guy has to be really stacked. So he has decent speed for a tank at 133, but he doesn't need to be fast. He needs to be, pardon the pun, tanky. So his health, I've got him at 34, 610, but his protection is 82, 184. That's significant. That is a deep protection pool. That means he can withstand the massive damage attacks of a Jedi Knight Revan, of a fellow, and when I play mirror matches, when I play other Darth Revan squads, and he's got heavy hitters like Bastila and HK. Those are the huge attackers that drop massive damage. This trooper has to withstand some really vicious onslaughts, not just the other side go twice and then he's off the board. Then he's not functional. He's not serving the use of what he's there for. So what I did is I of course went 6 defensive mods, but with different primary and secondary stats. So I did a defensive mod here, but a defensive protection primary. His secondary has some speed, but see at the top, it has plus 126 offensive points. That's huge. Right over here, another 100%, 100 plus offense on this, with a plus 10 speed secondary. So I've got 0.85% offense. And you can also tell with my squad, I forgot to mention, I went all 6 dot mods. I made these my best sets of mods, except for I can't put 6 dots on Malak because he's not 7-star yet. So here I used the triangle. The triangle at 24% protection, 20% defense with plus 13 speed secondary, which is good. 24% protection, more defense, more protection, more health, and just more protection. It's some tanks need to be fast. Some tanks need to be what they're supposed to be, tanky as hell. So that's why I've got protection, 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 defense, protection, offense. So this has a plus 9 speed secondary. So that means right here, potency and tenacity is pretty well evenly distributed at 47% and 47.1%. Damage is good for a tank. Armor, physical survivability, that's key. I'm at 52.34% tenacity, so I have over a 50% chance of physical survivability roughly till the end of the match, depending again on who I face. But this guy is designed to take on one of the most, if not the most, offensively destructive teams in the game, which is the Darth Revan, seconded only by Jedi Knight Revan. So this guy has to make sure that he survives, because in my team specifically, he and Malak are triggering taunts back and forth. So I can't have one be so much more, potent than the other. So one of them gets taken out easily within the first or second wave, and then I've got the other one just taking the brunt of everything. They gotta both be able to survive a little bit. Decent damage, special survivability, resistance is high, it's 43.21%, which is good. So that in an overview is modding for Arena. Now I can go into, I'll make additional videos where it's what works modding for raids and territory battles and stuff like that. But I wanted to focus on Arena first, because that's where you get the most, that's where you can get the most benefit is crystal payout, because how I do so well in the game now, and the account just takes care of itself. Between arena, squad arena, fleet arena, and doing my dailies, I per day collect over 550 crystals easily per day. That's what the game pays me back in rewards. And then you multiply that times 30 or 31 days in a month, you're putting away a lot of crystals that you don't have to wait for, you don't have to save up for, you don't have to buy out of your own personal finances and things like that. So that's how you can get to the game, to where the game takes care of you, not you having to take care of the game per se, if that makes sense. So what I'll do from here is go in different phases. I'll tackle raids next and tackle territory battles based off of what the guild does. But hope that at least presents just the small first footsteps on modding, how you can get better at it. Know your characters, know what the characters are designed to work best at. Any mod will improve a character. If I take all my mods off a character and they have none, and I put even some on, it's going to greatly improve that character. How you can make it to where that character is at its peak is learning what the character does, how the character is designed, what it's designed to work best at, and that's your goal. Doesn't matter how high you achieve the goal, meaning they don't have to be god mods, but as long as you're in the right direction, putting the right proper mods on there, you can always keep improving over time and getting better.